Back here at Mallory Park in Leicestershire, it is finals day on Thundersport GB, and we have the LMB Streetfighters up next, their final race of the season. Whoops! Where's your hat, missus? There it goes, don't worry, somebody will rescue it. Jamie Wilkins pulling up there on pole position, and all the other grid girls making absolutely certain that their headgear stays in the correct place. Mick Riddle, our man from the Air Force there. One of them actually, we've got a number of service personnel who race regularly with Thundersport GB. Mick Riddle, the leading Street Fighter B rider on the grid. There we see Andy Plaskett, number 10. And there we see one of the grid girls with no bike to stand beside. But Sid says it's time to watch the lights and goes walkabout. Street Fighter A, B and C. 3 classes then, and it's way to go for their very last race of 2011. Away, the familiar green spotted helmet of Jamie Wilkins up the front.
Yeah, a good start there from Jamie Wilkins. He's around about 3 or 4 bike lengths ahead as he makes his way around. That's Al Brown there, number 39, just behind Andy Castle. But at the front it is Jamie Wilkins with Palfreman in second, Riddle in third, Plaskett fourth, and Tony Hughes on that Street Fighter C Supermoto machine just ahead of Duncan McMillan.
Yes, Duncan second of the Street Fighter C's out there, and he's been carrying the fight to Tony Hughes one way or another all year, along with Brad Davey in Class C. It is a very, very competitive class for the ex-Supermoto machinery. But, Mr. Punch comes out of it on top at the end. There, once again, we see the rookie jacket of Al Brown, number 39 there, up at Shaw's hairpin.
Yeah, just having a battle there with Mark Lum and Al Brown, father of Russell Brown, who races in the Aprilia RRV 450 Championship. And there, Adam Palfreman closing the door on Mick Riddle, and further ahead, Duncan McMillan doing a good job this time to hang on to the tail of Street Fighter C champion Tony Hughes. Yeah,
so battle in C, battle in B. Riddle and Palfreman, and Adam Palfreman getting the better of Mick Riddle eventually in the earlier race, and he's just ahead of him at the moment. But, well, once again, Mick Riddle having to give best, as they all did in Class B, to Barry Utting this year. But you fancy, Steve, on Mick Riddle's form towards the end of this season. He is a serving member of the RAF, and of course he's missed a lot of rounds this year because the RAF have been involved in Her Majesty's action overseas, and certainly Mick has been based down there in Italy. If he'd have been able to take part in the whole season, he could well have given Barry Utting a bit of a run for his money.
Well, if anyone was going to, it would have been Mick, for sure. He's taken a number of victories towards the end of this year, and just before Barry Utting wrapped up the championship, Mick was actually getting up close and personal with Barry, so a shame that Barry's not being here to attend the last few rounds. Of course, we've got no Keith Smith, Mr. Potato Head. He's at home watching in Doncaster as the Street Fighter A champion, and Andy Denyer watching from pit lane after his he had mechanical problems yesterday and can't make the grid. So a couple of champions not there, as Andy Plaskett right up the inside of Adam Palfreman into Edwinas.
Yes, it's a big old bike, that Honda of Andy Plaskett, and taking up a lot of the track here at Mallory Park. There he is, running up the hill into the hairpin between now those two Street Fighter B runners. And Tony Hughes, having got in amongst that Class B fight and ahead of it in the earlier race, fancies doing a little bit of the same now. And there is Tony. And he knows around this circuit with this short lap that he can get his face in there, and he's tacked himself, look, on the back of the queue, looking just as determined as he always is. We always know with Tony there's a huge grin lurking somewhere. Great character.
Yeah, well, what he lacks in top speed, he certainly makes up for in corner speed there. He closes up on Adam Palfreman by a considerable margin, and as they make their way through the twisty Edwinas, that gap now down to, ooh, what, just 1 or 2 bike lengths.
Yeah, and he is in determination. The Street Fighter C leader at the moment. Of course, up the front, ahead of this bunch, Jamie Wilkins is out on his own, and
that's Andy Driver just up ahead of Flipper, Barry Rudge, and Gary Paul just behind. But Wilco is away with it. Look at this, number 95, the man with the green spotted helmet, who will be attending a couple of rounds next year, but not a whole championship. He's been a great Thundersport contestant over the last few seasons. And Andy Plaskett there trying to get back at Mick Riddle, and Tony Hughes getting ever closer to Adam Palfreman.
Yeah, Andy Plaskett with a lot more power in that Honda than Mick Riddle has available in the Kawasaki, and making it tell down the start-finish straight here at Mallory. That, Mick will be aiming to get back at him around the twisty bits, so up the hill they charge, and there in the background you can see part of the new spectator banking here at Mallory Park. It just offers the most phenomenal views this little circuit.
Yeah, there's some great places to stand and watch actually here at Mallory Park. You can see quite a bit of the circuit just over by the bus stop there. If you have a high enough spot on the hill, you can see pretty much all of the circuit also. But last lap then for Jamie Wilkins, the last lap of 2011 for him. He's just got one or two slower riders to deal with as he makes his way past Andrew Castle and Mark Lum.
And he's got the fastest lap of the race tucked away in his back pocket as well. So this perfect ending to, I suppose, for the moment, a full-time race career as far as Jamie's concerned. He has his parallel career, of course. He earns money as a racing journalist. I think you said earlier, Steve, he's moving as much into the world of bicycles as much as motorcycling.
Yeah, he's big into cycles now, and he's quite high up in the cycling world as far as the magazines are concerned. I'm going to embarrass myself by not remembering the name of the magazine right now, but it's a fine win, saved by the bell, as Jamie crosses the line to take another win and the last race win of 2011.
Yes, he wraps it up in Street Fighter A, and he wins from Andy Plaskett, Mick Riddle third, Tony Hughes getting up to fourth ahead of Adam Palfreman and Duncan McMillan. That's the overall. There we see Jamie Wilkins flanked by Rob Chisholm and Brent Millage. Street Fighter A then, Smithy the champion from Steve Bradbury and Andy Denyer. That's the 2011 result. And in Street Fighter B in the race, it was Mick Riddle from Adam Palfreman and Steve Wood. And there we see the standings. Barry Utting, the 2011 champion from Mick Riddle, and Rob Pragnell, an excellent third. Street Fighter C podium, Tony Hughes, very cheerfully there, of course, with Duncan McMillan and Keith Warren. And in their championship, Tony Hughes, the winner, from Brad Davey and Duncan McMillan.
Winner of that Street Fighter B race and the runner-up for 2011, Mick Riddle. Good day's racing?
Yeah, well, obviously I had to pick my game up after the first race because even Tony Hughes beat me in the first race, so I had to do something about that. That was a bit of an embarrassment, to be honest.
Yeah, you don't really want a Street Fighter C up there, so you managed to get the better of him this time.
Yeah, I had a really good race, got in front of Adam, and then it was just a matter of trying to chase down the guy in front.
People to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Thundersport, most of all, for giving us a Forces discount, because without that, you know, it is a great financial help with that. The RF Motorsport Association, my wife Tori, and all the marshals and medics.